They promised never to speak again, but Bai Lu and Shen Yue just hugged on set. The cameras had stopped rolling, but the tension hadn't. For months, the silence between Bai Lu and Shen Yue had been louder than any scripted drama. Every time they passed each other on set, eyes turned away. Dialogue exchanges were cold. Their interactions, if any, were purely for the camera and painfully rehearsed. Even the staff had begun adjusting call times so the two actresses wouldn't cross paths more than necessary. To the crew, it wasn't just awkward anymore, it was heartbreaking. They had once been close. Too close. Everyone remembered the early days of shooting, when Bai Lu and Shen Yue would sneak off during lunch breaks, whisper jokes during rehearsals, and even wear matching accessories for fun. But something had happened. Something unspoken and deeply personal. Rumors had swirled, of course. Something about Dylan Wang. Something about a private message that never should have been shared. But no one knew for sure. That afternoon on set, everything felt the same. Cold wind. Heavy silence. The two women barely acknowledged each other while filming a key emotional scene. The director called cut, but even then, no one dared speak to either of them. Bai Lu walked off toward the far edge of the lot, near the row of equipment trucks. Shen Yue stayed behind, arms folded, seemingly lost in thought. Then something shifted. According to a lighting assistant, Shen Yue suddenly turned, glanced around cautiously, and began walking. Not toward her trailer, but toward the very place Bai Lu had disappeared behind. The assistant didn't think much of it until several minutes passed and neither of the actresses had returned. That was when a sound technician named Jia caught a glimpse of something unexpected behind one of the trucks. Two figures. Close. Embracing. He couldn't believe it. He stepped back and quickly raised his phone. Just 1 second of shaky footage. No audio. No zoom. But it was enough. Two women standing tightly wrapped in an emotional hug. One wearing Bai Lu's signature gray cardigan. The other, Shen Yue's long beige coat. The clip spread like wildfire among the staff. Within hours, someone leaked it online. And that's when the internet broke. Fans began posting side-by-side comparisons of their last emotional scene and this unrehearsed moment. The hug was real. One post read, "You can't fake pain like that." Others speculated this moment was the result of a private meeting days earlier, when Dylan was reportedly absent from set for personal reasons. Could they have talked it out? Or was this hug spontaneous, raw emotion finally spilling over? One fan's post went viral, capturing the mood perfectly. "We waited months for closure in the drama, but it was the real-life hug that gave us the ending we needed." The production team released no statement. The director only hinted at it during a behind-the-scenes interview, saying, "Sometimes, the most powerful scenes are the ones we never intended to film." No one knows what words were exchanged behind that truck. No one knows if the friendship is fully healed. But one thing is clear, for that one unscripted moment, Bai Lu and Shen Yue let go of the silence and reminded everyone that forgiveness is sometimes louder than the past. The wind was sharp that evening, slicing through the quiet tension like a knife through paper. Lights were still being adjusted, crew members whispered cautiously, and the cast stood scattered near the fogged trailer set. But all eyes, even if not openly, were aware of the two figures standing just out of frame. Bai Lu and Shen Yue. It was supposed to be a simple scene that day. No dialogue between them. No interaction. Just walk across the courtyard and exit left. But something went wrong. Or maybe something finally went right. Bai Lu had been pacing, the inside of her coat clutched tightly against her chest. Shen Yue stood behind a lighting rig, pretending to scroll through her phone, but she hadn't blinked for minutes. Everyone could feel the crackling energy. The director tried to keep the set moving. He knew what had happened months ago. He knew why those two hadn't spoken since the awards night disaster. But nothing could have prepared him, or the world, for what came next. A loud clatter echoed from one of the production crates. Everyone jumped. Bai Lu turned. Shen Yue turned. Their eyes met. For a full 10 seconds, not even the wind dared to whisper. Then Bai Lu stepped forward. 1 step. Then 2. And before anyone could react, before the crew had time to raise a phone or shout or breathe, Shen Yue was already walking too. The hug wasn't cinematic. It wasn't planned, but it was everything. Bai Lu buried her face into Shen Yue's shoulder. Shen Yue's fingers clutched the back of her jacket like she never wanted to let go. It wasn't a dramatic outburst. It was something far more powerful, silent forgiveness. A single assistant near the trailers caught it on her personal phone. She didn't mean to record it. Her hand had been shaking. But the video somehow found its way online that night. No editing. No music. Just raw reality. The internet exploded. Fans who had chosen sides now sat quiet. Hashtags trended by morning. Even celebrities began reacting, calling it the most vulnerable moment captured behind the camera all year. But not everyone was cheering. Dylan Wang, who had stayed quiet about the rift between the two actresses, posted a single cryptic story later that night. No words, just a black background and a clock ticking. Fans began to speculate. Did he know something? Had he been the cause? Or had he known the truth about this hug long before anyone else? And as the next scene was called to roll, Bai Lu wiped her face, turned to Shen Yue, and said softly, "Let's just start again." No one said anything. The camera rolled. And for the first time in months, they acted side by side like nothing had ever gone wrong. But backstage, someone was listening. And not everyone was ready to let go of the past. The cameras stopped rolling hours ago, but the energy lingered in the air like smoke after a fire. The set was mostly empty now, lights dimmed, coffee cups abandoned on director chairs, and footsteps echoing down the halls of the soundstage. But behind one locked door, something else was happening. Bai Lu sat alone, fingers trembling slightly as she stared down at her phone. She hadn't watched the video that went viral. She couldn't. The moment had been raw, unscripted, and private. A small part of her regretted the exposure, but a bigger part, the one that had been hurting silently for months, finally felt weightless. Then came the knock. It was soft. 3 taps. The kind that don't demand attention, but wait to be welcomed. She opened the door, and there was Shen Yue, holding a steaming cup of ginger tea. "No cameras this time," Shen Yue said with a small smile. They sat opposite each other, the silence between them no longer painful but peaceful. "I never hated you," Shen Yue said after a long pause. "I just didn't know how to forgive you." "I didn't ask for forgiveness," Bai Lu replied, eyes glassy. "Because I didn't think I deserved it." For a moment, neither of them spoke. Shen Yue reached into her jacket pocket and pulled out something that made Bai Lu's breath catch. The crumpled note. The same note Bai Lu had once hidden in Shen Yue's purse, long before things fell apart. It was a confession. A vulnerable, honest letter Bai Lu had written during filming when the pressure, jealousy, and misunderstandings were tearing everything apart. "I read it again," Shen Yue whispered. "Last night. I finally understood." Tears formed again, but not from pain this time. From healing. But while the two actresses rebuilt their broken bridge inside that quiet dressing room, outside, something else was brewing. A leaked call recording had surfaced, one that mentioned both their names. And it wasn't friendly. In the audio clip, a male voice, unmistakably Dylan Wang, was heard speaking to someone about the emotional manipulation on set, about a performance that wasn't meant for the audience, but for him. The clip ended abruptly, but it was enough. Fans were in a frenzy. Had Dylan felt betrayed by their reunion? Was he threatened by their bond being restored? Or had he been protecting someone else all along? Before either Bai Lu or Shen Yue could process the leak, their phones lit up. The director had called an emergency meeting. "Someone has been feeding drama to the press," his message read. "And it's going to destroy more than reputations if it doesn't stop." As they looked at each other, a deep, knowing fear sank in. They had just found peace. But someone somewhere was about to shatter it all over again.